Welcome to the T-Pac Arcade. Today's game is Verytex for the Sega Mega Drive. In this 1991 shoot-'em-up from Opera House in Asmic, you've got to save the human colony on planet Syracuse from a military takeover initiated by aliens, probably, because this is science fiction, so it's got to be aliens, right? So Verytex is the shoot-'em-up of all time. And what I mean by that lack of qualifier is that if you ever wanted to introduce someone to the most standard example of the genre, Verytex is your game. It has everything you'd expect from an early 90s space shooter, aesthetically, mechanically, structurally, with almost no novel quirks of its own. But don't take that the wrong way. This stock standard is what makes Verytex so great. 6 levels of spaceship blasting fun without the burden of unfamiliarity, because the only thing truly worth fearing is the unknown. And spiders, those are also worth fearing. At its core, Verytex is the perfect balance between old-school, arcade-style high-score shooters and more modern, level-based shooters. And consequently, the gameplay rides right between strategic routing and pure reflex. In basically every stage, you make your way through a set of enemy formations, fight a mid-boss, and fight an end-boss, which generally has 2 or 3 evolving attack patterns. Exactly what you'd expect from a game like this. And that goes for the weapon system too. Different upgrade icons allow you to power up your blaster up to 3 levels with successive pickups. Orange for the spread shot, which conveniently shoots behind you at full power. Red for the laser, which I generally avoided because it's got such a narrow range at base level. And my personal favorite, blue for the crescent shot, which is basically just a fancy wave beam. Pretty simple stuff. And of course, there are also pickups for screen clearing smart bombs, which are great for getting out of particularly dense projectile arrays, unless of course you like the warm plasma-coated embrace of bullet blankets. Homing missiles, great for people like me who can't aim to save their lives, just ask the pile of napkins that end up on the floor right beside my kitchen garbage bin. And shields, great for withstanding a few buffets in this otherwise one-hit kill game. You've also got 3 adjustable speed settings, although there's no reason not to use the fastest one all the time, because there's a lot of bad guys to dodge here. The Starfield stage has green pods that circle around you like a friendship bracelet, but their bullets suggest they don't actually want to be friends. The Meteor Surface stage has a big tank that spits fire from its nose just like me after trying spicy soup. The Flooded City stage has a segmented robot worm that snakes around the screen, and bulky blaster bots who obviously hit the gym because their arms are 3 times the size of the rest of them. The Asteroid Belt stage features the most difficult boss fight against a gray armored spacecraft, but it is the prettiest to look at because it shoots these swirly glowing spheres that would mesmerize me if they weren't always on the cusp of destroying me. The Battle Cruiser stage features, well, battle cruisers, which will gladly knit you some of the densest plasma-coated bullet blankets you ever did see. And finally, the Alien Intestine stage has an angry space brick, which separates into smaller, angrier space bricks that all want to crush you. Also, there's the final boss, which looks like a pancreas with crab legs, and laser eyeballs. This fight is absolutely ridiculous with all the beams and fireballs covering the screen, but I did figure out there's a safe spot to camp out and let your homing missiles do all the work for you. Granted, I timed it, and it takes literally 5 minutes of just sitting in place to win the fight this way, but it was the only surefire strategy I could come up with. Which brings me to the difficulty of this game. Verytex is generous enough to offer unlimited continues, but the stages are long and the one-hit kills can be devastating when you're trying to learn boss patterns. That being said, I made it through the first half of this game playing legit, then I had to cheat with save states for the rest. Especially when it came to the mesmerizing swirly orb boss. No amount of smart bombs could save me in that fight, even though the explosions are equally pretty and mesmerizing. Speaking of which, Verytex has some great graphics. True to form, they won't blow you away, but they won't underwhelm you either. Stock standard sci-fi themed shoot-'em-up aesthetics done just as they should be. Sparkly starfields, glowing cannon fire, chonky robots, it checks all the boxes. And the chiptunes lie right in the middle ground between intense and melodic, exactly where you'd want them. You won't have trouble listening to the background music either, since the explosion and blaster sound effects are pretty understated so as not to overwhelm the soundscape. I mean, I personally don't mind loud, blaring laser beam audio effects, but then again, I listen almost exclusively to abrasive, screaming deathcore music, so I'm a bad metric for sonic balancing anyway. The most novel aspect of Verytex, as I've said, is that there is no novel aspect to Verytex, and that's my favorite thing about this game. It doesn't try anything fancy or new or convoluted, it's just a plain old spaceship shooter that does what it does really well. The only thing I would change here is maybe adding checkpoints before the boss fights. I might have been able to get through the second half of the game without cheating if that were the case. Overall, Verytex has earned its place as one of my favorite Mega Drive games, in all its unassuming glory. And rightfully so, because Verytex is certainly the undisputed, super stock standard, qualifier-free shoot-'em-up of all time.